Hello and welcome. I'm Brick Tamlin, and this is Let's All Go to the Lobby, the show where I tell you what's going on with movies and what is going on at movie theaters. Now, for this very first episode, I wanted to highlight something that I have been doing since about 2008. It is called the AMC Best Picture Showcase. Now, this video is in no way sponsored by AMC. This is my first video. I don't have any sponsors. But this is a super fun event that can get you out of the house, go to see a movie, and in this case, not just one movie, but a ton of movies, because this is going to show you all of the Best Picture nominees, and it shows you all of them on the 2 Saturdays before the Oscars broadcast. Now, for those of you doing the math at home, that would be this Saturday, February 22nd, and the next Saturday, March 1st, ahead of the Oscars broadcast on March 2nd. Now, in honor of the AMC Best Picture Showcase this year, I wanted to highlight my 10 favorite movies of 2024. Now, this is my 10 favorite. This is not the top 10 of 2024 definitively. These are just 10 movies that I loved the most out of the previous year. First up at number 10, we have Hitman from director Richard Linklater. This was one of the most fun movies that I saw all year. Just from beginning to end, I had a smile on my face. It stars two of the most charismatic people that we have working in Hollywood today, in Glenn Powell and Adria Arjona. It's a super fun romantic comedy, crime, caper sort of movie with a great supporting cast that features Austin Emilio giving one of the most fun performances of the year. He plays just like the most dirtbag of dirtbag cops. I highly recommend it. It is currently streaming on Netflix. It's unfortunately not getting re-released into theaters like some of the other movies on this list, but I definitely think you should go and check it out. Next up at number 9, we have Strange Darling. Now, this was one of the most delightfully surprising theater experiences that I had all year. It stars Willa Fitzgerald and Kyle Gallner as this couple on a casual date, and while I wish I could say more, I really can't because it would spoil it. And I just desperately want as many people to go into this movie as blind as humanly possible because it's so much fun when you have no idea what's coming next. It unfortunately is not available on any streaming service right now. It is available on VOD for about $6, and trust me, it is worth the $6. Now, it's not up for any Oscars or anything, so it's not getting re-released in theaters, but I just desperately want more people to go see this movie. So please, if you get a chance, look up Strange Darling on VOD, $6. You won't regret it. At number 8, we have Challengers. Now, Challengers was one of the most wild and fun experiences that I had at the movie theater this year. It came out much earlier this year. It stars 3 of the most attractive people in Hollywood in Zendaya, Josh O'Connor, and Mike Feist. It is from the director of Call Me By Your Name. It has an elite score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. It's got sexy deceptions on top of devastating lies and cradled in sordid affairs with tennis also. And the tennis is like way more compelling than it has any right to be. And I like tennis. Like I'll watch a French Open. I don't care. I'll do it. But there's really just like nothing to dislike about this movie. You're going to be riveted the whole time. It's super fun. It's currently streaming on Prime right now. So you really don't have any excuses but to go check this out like as soon as possible, like tonight. Go check it out tonight. At number 7, we have I Saw the TV Glow from director Jane Schoenbrunn. It stars Justice Smith and Jack Haven as these 2 young friends that form this really unique bond over a young adult television show called The Pink Opaque. The Pink Opaque is the show in the movie that's very much like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Are You Afraid of the Dark? Like those were very clear influences on this fake television show. This was an insanely strange movie, and strange in a very Lynchian way that I haven't really seen since David Lynch was actually still making movies. I'm extremely excited to see what Schoenbrunn comes up with next. They are a massively talented young filmmaker, and I'm just really excited that we get to see, hopefully, a bunch more movies from them. It is currently streaming on Max. You can go check it out tonight. And, since I told you to check out Challengers tonight, maybe check it out tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. It's very good. Moving right along, at number 6, we have Will and Harper. Now, Will and Harper is just one of the most charming theater-going experiences that I have ever had. It is one of those movies where you leave it and you just feel like everything's going to be okay. Maybe the world isn't such a huge dumpster fire. Maybe not. Maybe we're going to make it, right? It is a documentary about Will Ferrell and Harper Steele on a road trip from New York to Los Angeles. Now, Will and Harper met each other on the set of Saturday Night Live when Will Ferrell was a cast member and Harper was a writer. They fast became close friends. And during the pandemic, Harper came out to Will as a trans woman. And so Will had the idea to go on a road trip with Harper and sort of reintroduce her to a bunch of places across the country that she used to love to frequently visit when she was still presenting as a man, but maybe isn't quite as comfortable revisiting now that she has transitioned. It is one of the most genuine movies. It is hilarious at times. It is truly heartfelt and just really showcases what true friendship looks like. I dare anyone to go watch this movie and not come out on the other side of it feeling just great, just incredible. It is one of those movies that just fills your heart with absolute joy. It is currently available on Netflix right now. It has unfortunately not been nominated for any Oscars, so it won't be getting re-released back into theaters. But like I said, it's on Netflix. Go check it out. Next up, at number 5, holy shit, it's The Substance from director Coralie Fargeau. Now, this is somehow even more bonkers than Fargeau's directorial debut from 2017 called Revenge, and I just didn't think that that was possible. But she proved that it certainly is. The Substance has been nominated for multiple Oscars, including Best Director, Best Picture, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Actress. It stars Demi Moore as Elizabeth Sparkle, an aging actress that is desperately trying to regain her youth by taking the substance. The substance creates a more perfect, younger version of herself, played by Margaret Qualley, named Sue. This is just one of the most disgusting body horror movies that I have ever seen. And I mean that with the highest compliments. It is crazy to me that this movie has been nominated for multiple above-the-line Oscars. It's just fantastic in the best way. Unfortunately, it's not on any of the main streaming services. Currently, it is streaming on Mubi, who does offer a 7-day free trial if you want to go that route. It is also on VOD, again for about $6, and it has been re-released into theaters ahead of the Oscars. So, if you can make it, I would highly recommend run out the door and go see The Substance in a theater as soon as humanly possible. Number 4 is Dune Part 2 from director Denis Villeneuve. Now, when this movie came out back in March of 2024, it almost kind of sort of felt like the Oscar race might just be over. Like nothing was going to be able to take Best Picture away from Dune Part 2. And things have changed quite a bit. And it almost feels like Dune Part 2 has been kind of largely forgotten. Like it's really not being talked about in the Oscar race anymore. It's just kind of one of the Best Picture nominees that it's nice that it was nominated, but it has no shot of winning. Director Denis Villeneuve has not been nominated for Best Director. It has no acting nominations. It's just very strange for a movie that was so incredibly well received from both audiences and critics alike earlier in 2024. I had the pleasure of going to see this recently in a movie theater again, since I hadn't seen it since about March of 2024. And again, I was just amazed at how incredible the film craft of this is. Like, Denis has such an attention to detail when it comes to this whole world that he's trying to sculpt. Regardless, Dune Part 2 rules, no matter what the Academy thinks. It is currently streaming on the Max streaming service if you want to go check it out there. However, since it has been nominated for Best Picture, it is a part of the Best Picture Showcase that I mentioned at the top of this video, as well as having been re-released into select theaters. So if you haven't had a chance to see Dune Part 2, get yourself to a theater and go see Dune Part 2 while it's still on a big screen. Coming down the home stretch at number 3, it's A Different Man from director Aaron Schimberg. This movie stars Sebastian Stan and Adam Pearson. Sebastian Stan, you might know from the MCU, played Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, and just is an incredible actor that I'm really glad is starting to branch out. I loved him in the MCU, do not get me wrong. Him playing Bucky Barnes was absolutely one of the delights of my movie-going history. But I'm really glad that he's starting to branch out into these like more strange, more kind of like, independent roles. And A Different Man certainly qualifies. It follows a man that has his face covered in these large tumors that just grow on his face. And there's really no way to get rid of them without them having growing back much more aggressively. So he eventually finds a radical medical procedure that allows him to get rid of all of the tumors permanently. And wouldn't you know it, when he gets rid of all of the tumors, he transforms into a guy that looks a lot like Sebastian Stan. This movie is Kafkaesque. It is a nightmarish comedy. It just keeps ramping up the crazy and the hilarity also. For as dark as it is, it's really hilarious, and it just keeps ramping it up all the way until the end credits. It has not been re-released back into theaters, but it is currently streaming on the Max streaming service, so go check it out there. Trust me, it is fantastic. And now at number 2, we have Anora from director Sean Baker. Anora is just wonderful. It stars Mikey Madison, who you might know from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or Scream 5. She plays the titular character. And this movie, it feels like if like Risky Business had the same energy as Uncut Gems. It's just a wild ride that is at times extremely tense. At others, it's genuinely funny, and ultimately, it just punches you right in the gut with existential dread. It is a capitalist tragedy. Baker wrote, directed, and edited this movie, as he does with all of his movies. It is nominated for Best Picture. It's nominated for Director. It's nominated for Best Actress. And it is just simply one of the best movies of the year. It has been re-released into theaters ahead of the Oscars, and it is also streaming on VOD. While it's not streaming on any streaming service, you can rent it for about $6, and I would highly recommend that you either take advantage of one of the re-releases at select theaters across the country, or at minimum, rent it on VOD. It is probably going to be our Best Picture winner this year. Go check it out. And finally, at number 1, we have Civil War from director Alex Garland. I adored this movie when it came out back in April of 2024. It is definitely the movie that shook me the most. It's disturbing, but yet it's incredibly watchable. Somehow it accomplishes both of those things at the same time. I've seen this movie multiple times now. I own a physical copy of it. It caught a lot of criticism back in April for how vague it is about how this civil war in the United States started. You don't get any big, long exposition about like what happened to cause this. It just gives you little details from character dialogue, just kind of sprinkled throughout the movie. And I felt like it was vague enough that the audience can kind of fill in their own gaps of how this war started. And I also felt like it kind of needed to be vague, because if it got too specific about how the war started, then it might kind of draw attention away from what I think the true intention was, or at least one of the true intentions was this movie, which was to show just how utterly horrific war is and show us that in our own backyards. because there was something so uniquely disturbing about seeing warfare up close like this in places that I recognize, places that seem really familiar to me. Seeing a helicopter that has crashed in the parking lot of a shopping mall is really striking imagery. Unfortunately, this movie has not been nominated for any major Oscars. It is not nominated for Best Picture. It will not, unfortunately, be a part of the Best Picture Showcase. It hasn't been re-released in theaters, as far as I know. It is, however, being streamed on the Max streaming service as well as VOD. If you don't have the Max streaming service, I would highly recommend you go check it out. Crank up the speakers because the sound design is just next level on a movie like this. And that is my number one favorite movie of 2024. And that is it. Those are my 10 favorite movies of 2024. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, a lot of these movies are being re-released back into theaters, so please keep an eye out for that. Many of these movies will be featured at the Best Picture Showcase, which the first day of is this Saturday, February 22nd, and the second day is next Saturday, March 1st, ahead of the Oscars broadcast on March 2nd. But mostly, if you think any of these movies sounded neat, I just hope you go check them out. However you go check them out. Streaming service, VOD, in theaters, just go watch good movies. And if you liked this video, please hit like and subscribe and join me next time on Let's All Go to the Lobby. Thank you.